contributed a different form of artistic expression for our Moments of Inclusion evening, I would like to invite up my dear friend, Kim Samuel from the Samuel Family Foundation, who is our partner in organizing this evening's event. Thank you, Kim.
I just want to say that unlike when I was your age, I'm really relieved that tonight nobody asked me to dance. I just want to say a very heartfelt word of welcome to all of you. It's great to have you here with us tonight. The night is all about youth and art and music and dreams and imagination. And I think this is just the most exciting moment of our whole few days together. So I'm not going to take more than about another 30 seconds. I was thinking about a poem that I really love by someone who was a poet and also an artist and a great thinker and all-around person called Rabindranath Tagore. And in one of his poems, I'm going to tell you the few words that have spoken to me for years and years. But before I do that, I want to tell you that they have never spoken to me as strongly as they are right now tonight, because all of you are bringing the melody to life. And he said, I was singing all alone in a corner, and the melody caught your ear. Welcome.
When I asked Zara about the piece that she created, I felt that her description was better than mine. So I've asked if she could explain her art, which also explains the meaning behind the centerpieces.
The meaning of my art means it's basically all the leaves, it just represents human people. So the colors and the different types of leaves represent their backgrounds and their cultures, and no matter what type of background and culture, they could still be in one same tree. And I drew the leaves falling down on the ground because to show that even though they're falling down on the ground, they could still be together on the ground too. And I represent the heart to show how much love there is in the tree.
Thank you. The question that I asked them to reflect upon, come on up. The question that I asked them to reflect upon in this whole project was, what is your moment of inclusion? And we think about experiences of isolation. For those of you who are only joining for this evening's program, this is actually part of a broader symposium on isolation and social connectedness that's taking place here from today until Friday. This evening's program is focused on engaging the voices of young people. And this is through art and creativity. Each young artist up on stage has selected a medium of their choice, and they've reflected on the question, what is your moment of inclusion? If we think about traumas that exist in our lives, sometimes they replay in our minds over and over again. And so part of the intent behind this process was to focus on those moments of inclusion so that we can remember those happy moments and repeat those visual moments or moments of movement, moments of song in whatever form. And so I've asked each of our panelists to explain their choice, their medium, what they've created and why in just a minute or two. We'll start with Chetty, and you each have a microphone, so you can introduce yourself and just explain to us your artwork, creating it, how did it make you feel, and how does it relate to your moment of inclusion? Chetty.
Okay, so my name is Chetty, and my moment of inclusion, I would say, was last year. I went for a walk with my mom at night because it was a really stressful week, and my mom had just decided that what I needed was a good long walk. And so in going out together, I noticed the stars, and I looked up and I thought all these things that I think probably, like, it's the end of the world if I can't do this, or if I don't get 95 on this assignment, or if I can't keep up with everything, like if I'm not at that if I'm not where I want to be, then I've failed myself. But I realized you're part of something bigger, just in existing, in what you're able to give as an individual, is part of like a greater picture. And so in everything that I look, I try to think of what is the deeper meaning behind there. And in my picture, I decided to look at some graffiti. When you just pass by it, like, it doesn't look like anything special. But one of the reasons why I chose this was because like there are many layers of graffiti under this bridge, and that got me thinking of like a person. So when you walk by a person on the street, you only see what they put out to you, so you only see the facade of their person. And I wrote a poem, which I'll now read. It says, "The more you look, the less you see. The harder you pull, the further I'll be. But if a friend is all you need, and if you stretch a hand out to me, and you say hello, then you'll see beneath the walls of my facade." And so when we just walk by people, and I guess we take for granted the amazing things they're capable of doing, then we don't really get to experience life as fully as we could. And so that was the deeper meaning behind this picture.
Thank you. I would now like to ask NC to share her moment of inclusion.
So, hi everybody, my name is NC. I've heard that, I just wanted to point out that many people around the world, they have different moments of inclusion, but I just wanted to say that my moment of inclusion would be today, and I'm going to treasure this forever. So, the Sprout Camp that I went to in the summer, where I got to create a video game about moments of inclusion and social issues like that, it took place in the summer of 2014 in the middle of July in Sprout Ideas Camp, obviously, in Toronto. And when I learned that I had gotten accepted for that place, I was overwhelmed by a mix of feelings, both of joy and worries about how everything there would be. But I was part of an amazing group of students and teachers sharing concerns and brainstorming ideas on how to raise awareness. I had to admit, though, I was a bit scared and had a moment of insecurity since this was a new experience, new collaborators, new educators, new environment, and things like that. Once the day started, I felt I was somewhere I belonged to, though. I felt relieved and curious to ask what all these other people around me had in common with me and why. When the Sprout Camp just started, not many people really knew each other. We looked at problem solving, organization, brainstorming, but yet still cared about everyone else's contribution. Our class was made up from a variety of kids. Some were high school students, some were primary students, but most of them were grade 7 and 8s. And when we got to know each other, we were separated into random different groups based on the social issues we cared the most about. And so from that, we all got together really quickly, and it was really amazing to see the moments of inclusion that happened really quickly throughout all of us. This was really important for me because every time that I would come into the room, I would be so excited and anxious to ask what this day would bring. And every day was such a unique experience, from walking through the main doors that we discussed the most to the hands-on experiment that we had, that we actually got to create a video game and organize the information of our social issue into levels, tables, and warnings. I have seriously never, ever heard of a camp as interesting as this, because usually when you might hear of a camp that has a learning experience to do about technology, you might think it has something to do about science, and that creating a video game is extraordinary when you put to the fact that it's only a week long to do it. But more importantly, I felt the power of inclusion in a group that shared the same concerns and beliefs same as mine, and I really felt the enjoyment of having equal responsibilities and duties and the freedom to express myself. This experience really influenced my identity, because we seriously actually got to make a video game about mental health, which was what me and 2 other girls had a social issue in common, what that really spoke to us. And throughout our game, my friends and I tried to influence our generation to make conscious decisions about when playing our game and throughout life when they see someone with mental health problems and so on. And throughout the process, we were all part of a circle without fear of judgment, and we all got to express our ideas without being afraid of what the others would say. And this experience really enabled me to expand my knowledge and to think deeply about the issues around the world. And it inspired me to really raise awareness and to make the voice of unheard human beings become part of a choir. And I kind of summed all of this up into a mini quote that says, "The world would be a better place if feelings of exclusion and tears of loneliness would be replaced with sound of laughter and the circles of acceptance." Thank you.
Thank you so much, NC. I'm so glad that she joined our Sprout Ideas Summer Camp, and for sharing your moment. And for that being part of the camp we were part of, I'm very grateful. I should mention, Chetty was part of our film camp, and I now would like to introduce Owen. Owen has created an incredible carving. He is an artist, and he is also a Special Olympics athlete. And it's obviously challenging to be both an artist and an athlete at the same time, but somehow he pulls it off. Owen.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
This is Owen Monroe. Actually, I made this torch for the law enforcement for Special Olympics Yukon. Also, I ran the torch run before, and also ran with Darby and with the RCMP. And also, what made me make this nice, beautiful, nice torch because it represents my First Nation clan, and Casca, and also I had Casca and I had Wolf Clan, and also I have relatives in Ross River, and so is my mom, on my mom's side, and also I love First Nation art so much. It's so much fun and so much challenging. Yeah, and also I made this torch and I put the wolf clam on it and the crow clam on it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great honor.
Owen, I have to ask, how many hours did it take you to carve that?
How many hours? It took me 4 hours.
4 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I must say that Owen traveled a very long way to get here. Yukon is quite far up north, so thank you for
I
traveling.
had a little bit jet lag.
A little jet lag.
Yeah.
Someone else who traveled very far to be here is Daniel to his left, and Daniel came from Nunavut. Daniel, can you tell us about your artwork?
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Daniel, and honestly, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm not too sure what to say. I'm kind of speechless with everything going on. My first time, and
It's a big stage. Maybe you can tell us what's the photograph about? You were hunting, right?
well, for this photograph, the reason why I chose it is because of me and also Eva,
Yes.
my second mother, who's over there.
She's
Great
behind the
mom.
iPhone.
And this day, we actually went about 50 or 60 miles out of town for some caribou hunting. And why did we
you share this photo with us?
the reason why I shared this one, because, well, it has the background and has the land. Also has me and Eva,
Yeah.
which I already said.
Yeah.
And
Daniel, I really must thank you for your courage, and Owen especially for how far they've traveled, and they live in some of the most remote parts, not just of Canada, but of the world, and I can only imagine the feeling of intimidation to be in front of such a large room. So I thank you both, well, all of you, for your courage. Thank you. Sean is next, and he comes to us from the US, and he has one photograph of many. In fact, he has many photographs that have been shared with me. But Sean, can you tell us about this photograph and when you took it and how you felt and how it relates to your moment of inclusion? I should also mention, as we do a sound check, that Sean is also a Special Olympics athlete, and many of you have had an opportunity to see the collage outside. There are quite a few Special Olympics athletes in the room who have joined us this evening. Can they wave? Just do a little wave if you're Special Olympics athletes who've joined. Thank you all so much for joining us. Sean, is the sound ready?
Hello.
Yeah. All right.
Hi, my name is Sean Bogart, and I took this photo just because it's a great picture, and the reason why I choose this is because it has a shade, and it has a sand and sky. I went to a family vacation, and this was actually in Kauai. So, in the moment, the reason why the conclusions on this is because sounds very peaceful, and it clears your mind and clears your stress if you have any stress. So that's my moment of conclusion. So this is a very good quality of photo.
Thank you. And as a full participant in this symposium, we all agree that nature can really help clear the stress. And did you want to add anything else about photography? Because I know that you really love taking photographs, and I just want to ask, why do you love taking photographs so much?
Because I was in high school, and I was in photography class. And to me, I just love taking pictures. It really makes me feel happy, and if you get a good eye and good shot and good color and people and animals and actually plants too.
Yes.
Because it shows me how it means to me, and it really brings out good stuff that I really want to be like in the future. I want to be a photographer and filmmaker because I want to be like my uncle.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. And his uncle is actually here doing a documentary, so some of you who are interested in being part of that, I encourage you to do so tomorrow. All right, now, we talked about the power of sight. Let's talk about the power of sound and voice. We just loved hearing you out there. We have Ebony, who's from Appleby College, one of our lead vocalists.
Good evening, everyone. When I first heard of the word inclusion, I really had to think about what that really meant to me, and I thought that it's a feeling of being welcomed, and despite your differences, your physical, mental, or emotional differences, and I really had to ponder on what that meant in my life, and a significant part of my life. Entering grade 9, I felt inclusion when I got accepted to Appleby College, my school, on a full scholarship. So I felt very welcomed into the school. It's a very international school and multicultural, and going there, I was worried that I would have felt maybe a little excluded, despite that I'm not like everybody else. I didn't pay my way into, but it really meant a lot to me when the people that surrounded me were just so warm and welcoming, despite, like, if they knew about the situation or anything, they were just so welcoming, and they really accepted me for me and who I really am. And I thank Mr. B and his wife ML, who introduced me into the Rainchild Project, and that was another feeling of inclusion within my inclusion in Appleby. I felt a part of this campaign that will bring people together. And when I reflect on the lyrics of the song Rainchild, Rainchild is the victim and the bully, and it's just a song that's trying to promote inclusion, and I felt included, being welcomed into this Rainchild's community to just promote this great idea that ML had, and I thank her for that, and that is my moment of inclusion. Thank you.
So for Sylvia, you saw a little dance. I'm also going to bring her large painting to the stage.
Thank you, Jen. How many of you have ever felt like alone? Yeah. How many of you have felt like a little bit different, a little bit kind of weird sometimes? Yeah. I know that when I was younger, I was one of those kids that like to braid my hair in knots and go to Chinese restaurants. And my parents totally thought it was strange, but I love it though. I thought it was completely fine until she told me it wasn't. And when I was younger, I used to just wave to my random strangers on the streets. And my parents actually used to tell me, why am I talking to random strangers? And when I was younger, I did all these things thinking that it was completely fine. There was nothing wrong with it. That goes the same way with me being who I was when I was younger. I was just completely the way I was. I loved art, I loved dancing, singing. It was just the way that I was as a kid. And it was only until like I get older and having people tell me that it was not fine to be a little bit different, and that maybe I should be like someone else. So I kind of grew up thinking that the kind of person that I was is not good enough. Is not good enough, and my voice is not important. So when I was younger, I remember when I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher gave me paint. Like I never touched paint at all before, and I was just doodling, and I realized that when blue mixes with yellow, it makes green. I don't know, I thought it was really amazing. Like I love the idea, like I can create stuff, mix things together, and it makes something completely different. And it was just one of those moments where I zoom out and I forget about what my parents think and everyone around me thinks. And when I do art, it's like that for me. I feel like I could be who I am, and it allows me a voice to express the kind of person that I really am. And I think for me, my art is like a form of communication with people, especially when I was younger, I didn't feel like my voice was important enough, like it wasn't good enough. And all that negative things that I tell myself. And one of the other reasons why I got into dancing, breakdancing, is because when I saw someone dance, I was like, that was something I would do when I was younger too. And instead of stopping myself and not trying it, I was like, you know, I'll give myself an opportunity to experience this art form. And I loved it. Like, I just loved that feeling of feeling like I could fully express myself and be the kind of person that I am. And when I was in breakdancing, there's not a lot of girls, so you guys could kind of imagine how it would be like to be a girl dancing in a sport that's mainly male-dominated. But in my mind, I just love the dancing so much, I just stuck with it. And it just got to a point where someone asked me one day, do I want to join your dance crew, my dance crew? And I was like, yeah. And that was a moment of feeling included, of being accepted in a community. And I found like a group of people that really accepted me for who I was and who I am and the kind of person. And it just felt great to be loved for that kind of person that I am, for being who I am. So that's just what I want to share with you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Morgan. And Sylvia, I just wanted to say, I've seen you paint live, and now I've seen you dance live, and you are a joy to watch. You are a person that radiates positive energy, and I just wanted to thank you for sharing that with us. I'd also like to apologize for my coughing fits. The winter is impending. And I'm experiencing the standard Canadian symptoms, so thanks for bearing with that. Most of you may have seen me painting this piece live, not but an hour ago. And originally, I was going to paint a skyline of Toronto because I felt so embraced by the Toronto art community when I first started working with the company that I work for now, which is called Art Battle, and is live competitive painting. But about halfway through creating this piece, I started considering why, if I'm making a piece about inclusion, am I only coming at it from my point of view? And so I wanted to come at it in a way that was inclusive for everyone in this room. And so the piece that you're seeing right now is an abstraction of a bridge. And inclusion is created by building bridges toward one another and by crossing the bridges that have been made throughout history and building over and knocking down things that stop us from including one another and stuff like that. And so I wanted to create something that was about building toward the future. It was about crossing the bridges that have been made for us and continuing to make them for the people of today and for the people of the future. So that is my moment of inclusion.
And that is also now part of the Samuel Family Foundation collection that will be ready for future exhibit at the UN in December, along with any of the other submissions that we can carry with us to New York, including all the prints that are here. Wow. Wasn't that amazing? Wow.